The phone buzzed on the nightstand like a trapped wasp, its screen slicing the dark with a cold rectangle of light. 2:17 a.m. I had been lying awake for an hour, counting the slow drip of the bathroom faucet and the heavier thud of my own pulse. Sarah's breathing beside me was soft, practiced, the kind of sleep that looked innocent only if you didn't know her the way I did. The vibration stopped, then started again. Same number. Unknown. She didn't stir. I reached across her warm body, fingers brushing the sheet still scented with her coconut shampoo, and lifted the phone before the third ring could wake her. Hello. My voice came out rough, scraped raw from disuse. Pause thick enough to choke on. Then a man, low and amused. Finally. Thought you'd never pick up, gorgeous. I sat up so fast the headboard cracked against the wall. Sarah's eyes snapped open. Mark, she whispered, but the name floated past me weightless. Who is this? I asked the stranger. Another beat of silence. Tell your wife Ethan says the hotel's booked for Friday. Same room. She knows the one. The line went dead. Sarah was already scrambling, sheet clutched to her chest like armor. Give me the phone, Mark. It's work. Work, I repeated. The word tasted metallic. Work calls you gorgeous and books hotel rooms? Her face folded in on itself. Guilt, panic, the whole collapsing architecture of a lie. It's not what you think. I was already swinging my legs over the side of the bed, the hardwood biting into my bare feet. The room felt suddenly foreign. The wedding photo on the dresser, the throw pillow she'd picked because they matched my eyes, the faint coffee stain on the rug from the morning she'd laughed and said we were too old for spills. All of it staged suddenly. A set. Tell me what it is then, I said. My voice didn't shake. That would come later. She sat up, knees drawn to her chest. It's complicated. Uncomplicated. The story spilled out in fragments the way glass breaks, sharp, irreversible. Ethan was a senior partner at the firm. Late nights prepping for the Meridian merger. Drinks after to unwind. One kiss in the elevator that turned into more in the back of his Audi. 6 months. 6 months of strategy sessions and client dinners. While I microwaved lasagna and waited for the garage door to rumble open at 11:47 p.m. like clockwork. I listened without moving. Each detail landed like a pebble in still water, rippling outward until the whole surface of our life was distorted. The worst part wasn't the sex, I could almost compartmentalize that, file it under biology and bad decisions. The worst part was the laughter. She told me how they'd mocked my texts. Good night. Love you, drive safe. How Ethan had saved my contact as, husband, do not answer. She laughed when she said it, a nervous hiccup, then stopped when she saw my face. You think this is funny? I asked. No. God, no. She reached for me. I stepped back, bumping into the dresser. The wedding photo tilted, then righted itself with a soft clack. I left the bedroom because I couldn't breathe in there. The hallway smelled of the lavender candle she lit when she wanted the house to feel cozy. I stood in the dark, palms pressed to the wall, counting heartbeats. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. At 30 I went to the kitchen and poured a glass of water I didn't drink. The clock on the microwave blinked 2:33. Somewhere in the walls the house settled with a groan, as if it too had been holding its breath. Sarah appeared in the doorway, wrapped in my old college hoodie. The sleeves swallowed her hands. We can fix this, she said. Fix what? My voice cracked on the second word. The marriage or the lie? Both. She took a step. I'll quit. I'll block him. Therapy, whatever you want. I set the glass down harder than I meant to. Water sloshed over the rim, pooling like a tiny useless lake. You think therapy undoes the fact that you looked me in the eye every night and chose him? Her shoulders caved. I was scared. The promotion, the pressure. Stop. I held up a hand. Don't make this about your ambition. You wanted both. The corner office and the husband who packed your lunch with little notes. I laughed, a sound like tearing paper. I wrote kick-ass today, babe, on a post-it last week. You probably showed it to him. She flinched as if I'd struck her. Good. I walked past her to the living room, grabbed my keys from the bowl by the door. The metal was cold, familiar. Where are you going? She asked. Somewhere the air doesn't taste like betrayal. The driveway was silvered with frost. I sat in the car with the engine off, staring at the house. Through the window I could see her silhouette pacing, phone to her ear. Calling him probably. Or her sister. Or no one, just holding the phone like a talisman. I started the car and drove. The streets were empty, sodium lights smearing orange across the windshield. I ended up at the 24-hour diner on Route 9, the one with the cracked vinyl booths and the waitress who called everyone Han. I ordered coffee I didn't taste. At 4:12 a.m. my phone lit up. Sarah. I let it ring out. Again at 4:17. Again at 4:20. On the fifth call I answered. I'm sorry, she said before I spoke. I'm so sorry. I know. Come home. Please. I am home, I said. I just don't know where that is anymore. Silence stretched between us, thin as the wire holding the payphone outside the diner. Finally she whispered, I'll be here when you figure it out. I hung up and stared at the steam curling from my cup. The waitress refilled it without asking. Her name tag read Dolores. She had kind eyes and a smoker's rasp. Rough night, Han. You could say that. She nodded like she'd heard it all before. Sometimes the crack runs clean through. Sometimes it's hairline. Either way, you don't glue it back the same. I left her a 20 and drove to the park where we'd had our first date. The swings creaked in the wind. I sat on the bench, hands in my pockets, and watched the sky pale from black to bruised violet. At 6:03 a.m., I texted Sarah. Meet me at the house. 8 a.m. We talk. Nothing else. She was waiting on the porch when I pulled in, coat pulled tight, hair unbrushed. The sight of her, tired, small, human, almost undid me. Almost. Inside, the house felt hollow. We sat at the kitchen table, the one we'd refinished together the summer Leo the handyman had shown us how to sand out the scars. She poured coffee neither of us drank. I want the truth, I said. All of it. Then I'll decide what I can live with. She told me everything. The first time in the copy room. The weekend conference in Chicago. The way Ethan made her feel seen, brilliant, desired in a way she claimed I'd stopped doing after the mortgage and the 401k and the routine of us. She cried when she described deleting my texts, so he wouldn't see them. I didn't cry. I was a desert. When she finished, the clock read 9:47. Sunlight slanted through the blinds, striping the table like prison bars. I love you, she said. That part wasn't a lie. I believed her. That was the cruelest cut. I need time, I said. Space. The guest room's yours. I'll take the couch. She nodded, tears tracking clean lines through the mascara smudges. However long it takes. That night I lay on the couch, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy rotation. At 11:52 the garage door rumbled. I waited for the soft pad of her feet, the creak of the stairs. It never came. She was already asleep in the guest room, or pretending to be. I pulled the throw blanket higher and listened to the house breathe around me. Pipes ticking, fridge humming, the faint echo of a life that used to fit. 3 weeks later I found the hotel confirmation in her deleted email. Friday. Same room. She'd kept it like a souvenir. I printed it, left it on the kitchen counter with a post-it. I'm done pretending. The ring sat beside it, glinting under the pendant light like a tiny cold sun. She came home to an empty house and a note that said only. The crack was clean through. I moved into the apartment above the garage where I'd once stored Christmas decorations, and the crib we never used. Some nights I still hear her car pull in, the engine cutting off, the long pause before the door slams. I don't go down. I sit on the narrow balcony with a beer I don't finish and watch the stars wheel overhead. Indifferent witnesses to the slow, meticulous work of becoming someone who no longer answers work calls at 2 a.m.